but that's what I'm trying to bring to
I mean, we
Australia.
tried Azam Khan, we tried this. Kya bana?
Yeah, I'm not talking about our team right now. I'm talking about the
They
Australian
have
team.
the same problem. They don't have the raw talent to fit in those roles.
I understand, but at the same time, I think the first person we need to look at is if we're talking about Blessing Muzarabani not being sold in the PSL, we have to talk about the player who was sold for the highest, for the most in the IPL. In the IPL, and that
Yeah.
in Cameron Green, who has not performed all tournament.
0-2 in two deliveries.
Welcome to Over and Out with DawnNews as we continue our review of the T20 World Cup in India and Sri Lanka. I'm Saadi Raza here in the US. With me is Ahmed Zulfikar in the UAE and Mustafa Siddiqui with DawnNews English. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you?
Very well.
So, three games. Let's start off with the UAE beating Canada. So, easy, your hometown team finally off the mark in a
Take
World
it away.
Cup.
Take it away,
They
my man.
actually
Yeah,
they
really,
did
really
pretty
great
well.
moment. And in
Please.
fact, the women's team, the A team, also won against India A at the Rising Stars Asia Cup. So it's been a double whammy and a wonderful day for UAE cricket. They were in trouble. The bowling was outstanding. We've seen in the past that is the UAE team's strength. You look to bowl first, you look to restrict the opposition. Junaid Siddique was brilliant with his variations, with his back of the hand slower balls. He was accurate, he was deadly, and he got 5 wickets. First time in his career he's achieved a 5 wicket haul in T20 eyes, and that too at a World Cup against Canada, who they had one batter who got to a laborious 50, but overall they were overmatched in the bowling department. UAE did very well, but then they made a meal of it in the run chase when it was Aryansh who played a pretty sedate 50. And fair enough, because Wasim had fallen, Ali Shan Sharifu had fallen, so he took a bit of time to just settle in and just stitch and keep the innings together. But then it became 57 of 24 when I thought, hang on, this match is slipping away from the UAE. But then Sohaib Khan, newly drafted into the side, he just made his ODI debut like 3 or 4 months ago, and his T20I debut just recently in the bilateral series with Ireland just before the World Cup, a week before the World Cup. But he is known on the domestic scene as a great hitter down the ground, especially against spin. And he really impressed with the way he took on the fast bowler Jayaskaran from around the wicket. He was bowling good heat, 138, 140, but he peppered him all over the Arun Jaitley Stadium. Yes, it's a good wicket to bat on, as we know in Delhi, but to take that pressure and to deliver a 50 in the clutch and just 20 odd deliveries, and then Aryansh also opened up. It was a thrilling victory and a massive moment for UAE cricket. And well, let's hope for the best in the remainder of the matches. But we've got our one win at the World Cup, and we're pleased as punch about it.
And for those who don't know, Izzy is one of the ICC commentators based in the UAE, and so he does a lot of the cricket commentary. And you can tell his breadth and depth of knowledge as well as his passion that he has for UAE cricket. Thank you, Izzy, for that. Second game of the day was the US with their first win in this year's World Cup, trouncing the
America, baby.
Netherlands. Trouncing the Netherlands. I was really impressed. So, captain's knock by Mark Patel right off the bat, 36 of 22, and then Ranjane with 48 of 24 to wrap it up. A very difficult target of 196 at the put together. And then Dutch just couldn't get going. And in the end, they were comprehensively beaten. What this means is that, barring catastrophe, it almost certainly means that Pakistan is qualified for the Super 8 from Group A. Mustafa, your thoughts on that game?
So my thoughts is I think the US are very like unlucky to only have one win so far. I think they've played good cricket for all three games. I think they should have won the India match. And if you're barring the Surya Kumar innings, which was great, which is like that was like the innings that completely defined that match. I think they did play the better cricket of the two sides, and I do like this was a very comprehensive win, but this is not a surprising. It's not surprising to us anymore because we saw this in 24 when they beat us, and how like they are a very good team. They I think they are as good of a team as Pakistan. Like I know we dealt with them pretty somewhat easily, but I think they're a very good team. They had a very good captain's knock from sorry, they had a for
Mukamla.
Mukalla, yes. Mukkamalla had a good shot.
I think the problem was that their bowling combination was off. They kept playing three seamers with Saurabh with Netravalkar, who was just getting hammered all over the place. He's not quick enough. And 110, 115 के kph पे तुम लल्लू से आउटस्विंगर डालोगे तो क्या बनेगा? It was a
But
spin track. They
he
played
was
the
key for
extra
them in
spinner with Kenji
2024.
Gay. He was good, but those pitches were absolutely dire.
It's
Matlab,
true.
it was
Yeah.
very uneven bounce, very badly rolled in. It was not favoring batters at all. India, we rolled over India for 120, and then we couldn't get 120. So आप खुद सोच रहे हैं ये कैसे pitches थे. So they fixed their combination, getting Kenji Gain is a very good left arm spinner. Mohammad Mohsin is already in there, and Shadley Van Shalvik. What a name to have. Sounds like something out of the Great Gatsby or something. What a ridiculous tournament he's having. He's
Yeah.
taking wickets in every single match in bunches, and he's honestly the MVP of the tournament. If the US had won some matches, and they have done that, 190, it was just shocking. The problem was that Aryan Dutt, one of the key bowlers, the right arm off spinner, he got hammered out of the attack early. That was the intent shown by Monank and Shayan Jahangir. So after that, their plans just got a bit disheveled. And then, of course, 190 when you're chasing at Chapok is very, very difficult at the best of times, even if there is dew around. And the US spinners were outstanding and rolled them over a massive victory. I think 90 odd runs or 80 odd runs. It's pretty much knocked the stuffing out of the Dutchman in this World Cup.
And to me, the US were a little unlucky with the draw that they got because I think if they'd been in a different group with, say, in England or in Australia, I think they would have taken down a big scalp. And they should come third in this group now, which is, will be an accomplishment. But they would have been unlucky to not get into the Super Eights had the draw gone a different way.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there, Doc. Pretty, as in terms of the associate nations, they're like in the top half, you could say, or the top four of the associate nations for sure. Absolutely.
And if you drive around Dallas Fort Worth on a Saturday and Sunday, you can see the next crop of upcoming players for the US on any weekend in parks. A lot of cricket now. It's
I've
even
heard
talk
that St. Louis is a massive hotbed for cricket as well.
every
Texas
place
is,
is
St. Louis is, and Seattle is as
a
well.
lot
And
of
of course,
places
the
have
eastern
become
states.
hotbed. Final match of the day. We were expecting a pretty quiet day, but this was a big upset. The Zimbabwe comprehensively beating the Australians 169 for two, and then bowling out Australia, doing really well. Blessing Muzarabani, who went unsold surprisingly in the PSL auction, taking 4 wickets
Insane,
It's
for
very,
insane.
very
17.
insane. Very insane.
The Aussie batting just never got going, and this is now they're in a struggle to qualify that Super Eights with because if Zimbabwe managed to beat everyone else, it'll be Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe coming through. Your thoughts on that game, gentlemen?
I think the biggest thought, first of all, I would like to point out that I did suggest that Zimbabwe have a fair shot. At least that's what I remember in my own inner monologue that I did say that Zimbabwe have a good chance versus Australia. I'm about 90% sure I did say that. And all well according to plan for the most part. Brian Bennett, fantastic innings. Marumani with the early intent that he showed, hitting those reverses of Glenn Maxwell really caught them by surprise. And of course, the injury bug has really hampered Australia in this T20 World Cup. Of course, Mitch Marsh not there. Steve Smith hasn't arrived in Colombo. And then we saw during the game, even Marcus Stoinis took a very nasty hit to his left thumb and index finger. And we were worried whether he would bat or not. But overall, the only thing that the Zimbabweans lacked was not being able to really pile on in the death overs. They were a bit below par to only finish at 170. Honestly, 185, 190 should have been on the cards the way that Bennett, then Marumani and Burl, and even Sikandar Raza, who looked a bit out of sorts, but he did manage to get that six, that exclamation mark at the final ball of the innings. They should have piled on a lot more. And then self-inflicted wounds, terrible shots by the Australians in the power play, very loose, very uncharacteristic. And when there was that inside edge of the pad that rolled onto the sticks of Travis Head, that is where the game well and truly, slipped out of their grasp. Even though Matt Renshaw played really well, Glenn Maxwell, he's starting to look 37 years old now. Unfortunately, he's lost his hand-eye, he's lost that juice, and I think. Just putting the basics together, the Zimbabwean fielding was out of this world. They made some unbelievable stops, not just on the catches, but the way they saved those sixes. They truly played a fantastic game of cricket and thoroughly outclassed the Australians and deserved winners today.
I
Mustafa,
also.
let me ask you a question about the Australian team before you comment.
Oh,
Do you think they missed a trick by having a bunch of jack of all trades, masters of none in their squad? You look at their squad, it's a lot of players who are decent, but you don't really have a lot of, above average or match winners. And I think that cost them. Nobody just got going. Your thoughts?
I think the first person we need to look at is if we're talking about Blessing Muzarabani not being sold in the PSL, we have to talk about the player who was sold for the highest, for the most in the
Yeah.
IPL. In the IPL, and that
Yeah.
in Cameron Green, who has not performed all tournament.
0-2 in two deliveries.
You bring up a good point. When I see Cam Green, and now he's been in sort of the limelight for 3 to 4 years, I don't get it. I just, he's been tried in the test team. He's had
The
back-to-back
problem is they keep
ashes.
making him bowl. He's a
He
batter who should bowl occasionally.
no to you
He's
if
callous.
you use an NFL thing, he has tools, but those tools aren't equating to output, right? So
100%.
Hmm.
and that's
200%.
what I think. I think that he's being picked because he has these raw tools, but that it's
He
just
was
not
anointed too early. He wasn't ready basically for the test stage, and they just shoved him in there because he's such a fantastic talent. And they keep asking him to bowl. They keep asking him to bat at number three. He's even been offered to open on occasions in red ball, which is very, very unfair to him. But the problem is, it's an aging side all across the three formats. They're dad's army in test matches, as we just saw, and they are granddad's army in T20. I mean, Stoinis is 36 or something like that. Maxwell is 37. Travis Head is 31. Mitchell Marsh is 33, 34. Steve Smith is 35, 36. That raw, unfiltered talent, the early 20s or even mid 20s, is not coming through for the Australians. Cooper Connolly is never really convinced. Jake Fraser McGurk, he was a flash in the pan. He's technically all over the shop. And now they're even looking at under 19 kids to be blooded into the T20I team. We saw Beardman, who just played that recent series versus Pakistan as well. So there is a dearth of players, batters or bowlers in their prime, like 23, 24, 25, 26, to step into the shoes of these legends. And that's why Australia are struggling.
But like this has been coming for a while. Like this has not been something that has been we've just like recently noticed. This is we have been noticing this for the last 5 years about how these five, six, seven players have been carrying them for the last decade, last 15 years, and they were eventually going to come to the end of their prime. Like they this is just how the natural progression is. It's never We've never seen Australia drop off so hard because somehow they've always produced this vast amount of talent. But if you were keenly watching Australian cricket, like they really haven't been performing like how they used to. And like even the 2022 World Cup, the 2021 World Cup sorry, 2023 World Cup they did win was a minor fluke, and that was really
It shows how many World Cups we have.
exactly
There's been one every year.
exactly like it's that's a discussion on
well
another
the
day.
the,
But
the
which
one
one do
in
you mean? We
the
have no idea
he's
now.
talking
The
about the one in India,
the one in
the
India,
ODI one. The
yeah,
ODI, but
Yeah.
that match turned on a one amazing catch, which probably never happens again, and then
And
just
KL
Travis's
Rahul completely becoming a shrew of a
no,
batsman.
but
That
like
was a
correct.
shameful innings.
no, but also just like Head basically taking control of the entire innings, and like Bumrah
Correct.
and
But there
Bumrah,
was due, that was gonna happen,
yeah,
nah?
There was,
yeah, but like still
but
Bumrah,
India also got a little tight in that game.
yeah,
How can you make 60 of 127 deliveries of with just one boundary, KL Rahul? Come on, man.
no, it's not even that, man. Like, okay, we can stop. We
It's
can,
exactly that.
yeah, but we always do this. We always go get sidetracked.
The
Getting back
point
to
is, it was a reckoning like in 2008, in 2009, when,
yeah,
the prime team went and it was only Ricky Ponting and Michael Clark looking around like, hey, what are we going to do? And they started losing Ashes series for the next
yeah,
3, 4 years. They started getting hammered in ODIs in T20I. So it's coming to a head that this generation is now finally getting
yeah,
old.
yeah, and it's just and like all these new players, it's like even Inglis is an old player. He's like
They're
30.
all rubbish, yeah,
They're
all
all
rubbish.
old. Like the reason they're old and they have been picked so late in their careers is because they were bad young. They were bad in their primes,
Exactly.
and they're only
Exactly.
coming in now because everyone who was good, your Warners, your Finches, they have now aged out.
Right.
And you just have these mediocre big bash players who just score runs because in for big bash surfaces they're pretty flat, and they can like and another thing they do which I deeply, deeply despise, which is something we also do, which is they consistently do not pick two roles. They just pick who has scored the most runs
Great
in
talent to
T20.
have those people in those roles, nah. We don't have people.
No, yeah,
Tell
I
me a
understand.
number 3, 4 batter in T20s Pakistan
Yeah,
has.
yeah,
We
yeah,
don't
but
have any.
let me get to my point. What I'm saying is they have the same problem as us, where we just pick top order players for our entire top six. Just like not so much
You're
this
just
one. Not,
reinforcing my point. है ही नहीं हमारे पास कोई फिर.
हाँ, but that's what I'm trying to bring to
I mean, we
Australia.
tried Azam Khan, we tried this. क्या बना?
Yeah, I'm not talking about our team right now. I'm talking about the
They
Australian
have the
team.
same problem. They don't have the raw talent to fit in those roles.
I understand, but at the same time, you have been doing. It's also another thing where they haven't gotten T20s. Like they haven't understood T20s in World Cups, and at least at the international stage that well. They have been uh, like saved because of their great bowling and their great opening partnerships. They really haven't understood T20s, and they have really gotten past. Like they won that 21 T20 World Cup just through sheer talent, essentially.
And Hassan Ali's dropped catch.
Yes,
Let's
and
not
Hassan
forget
Ali's
that.
drop catch as well.
20 of 10, they were always going to win. I feel. I always say
And
that.
let's blame the catch. All right, let's go to tomorrow's games.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's big game, the one that
Hassan Ali
saw.
will never live that down, and King kar lega. He'll never live that down.
Yeah.
Those two things.
So
Just like how
tomorrow,
Ralph won't live down bowling straight at the man when Hassan was telling him to bowl wide.
it's true. So tomorrow,
Hilarious.
New Zealand, South Africa is the marquee
Spicy
match
game.
of the day, and then of course the English play the Scots and Ireland
The
against
War of the
Wales.
Roses or
The
something
War
of
of the
that sort.
Roses was between Lancashire and York.
Close enough यार अब हमें इतनी English
Not
history
even
नहीं प्रताप की
close.
तरह.
Mary Queen of Scots couldn't be
William
beheaded.
Wallace versus George, the whoever the
Yes,
fifth or sixth or whatever.
it's William Wallace was English and
The
Scots.
Braveheart Derby.
Braveheart Derby, yeah. But let's talk about New Zealand, South Africa. When we did our World Cup preview a week ago now, we all thought the Kiwis were a definite dark horse, and they have impressed. But I will say I was impressed with the way South Africa dug deep and managed to beat Afghanistan. To me, what will be the better win tomorrow? A New Zealand win or a South Africa win?
I feel that New Zealand being
for that team's hopes of winning the entire thing.
for the World Cup, I think it would be beneficial if New Zealand got, knocked down a notch just to make them humble. But I think South Africa is still the old frailties. But they do tend to play well against New Zealand, if I'm not wrong. I think Quinton de Kock smashed 100 against them in Pune in 2023. I'm just trying to recall, but I do feel that is what happened. So on talent, South Africa is certainly superior, but New Zealand have been playing some outstanding cricket. It helps to be in India for the last 3 months. So let's see. It should be an interesting game. Maybe it might be the toss that could be the defining factor. I would look to chase probably in a night game in Ahmedabad with the dew around. And Kagiso Rabada needs to bowl better, certainly. And the spin, the problem is the spin that South Africa have is absolutely atrocious. I mean, like I said in the previous podcast we did together, just go all in on your paces, bro. Forget about Keshav and George Linda and what. Keshav is fine, but George Linda is absolutely trash, man. He adds nothing to the team. He's not even a great fielder. So just sell out with your fast bowling all rounders, add some depth to your batting, and then look to overpower the Kiwis. That is what I would suggest to the Proteas.
For me is I think both of these teams are coming into this game with a lot of momentum. And because like New Zealand is just coming off like two just very dominant wins, right? Where they've just controlled both innings very easily and they've had no real problem in either game. South Africa though is coming off momentum where they were down and out, then they came back, then they lost the game, and then they came back again. That type of win gives you should give you a different type of swagger where it almost feels like a loss. So you already feel like you've taken a moral loss to a certain extent, but you dug yourself out of it. So like I think South Africa will pull it back. It all honestly depends on KG Rabada. Because, like, quite frankly, Rabada has not bowled well in the IPL for the last 3 years. Like, his it matters. Like, his run rate in the last 3 years of the IPL has been like 10, 11, and 10. Like, it's not good. And like this is another reason why I was saying that Rabada as a limited
And they
over.
have Anrich Nokia on the bench, so it's not like he has to play.
Exactly. So like Anokia is probably better suited to these conditions as well because of his his no his line in length.
ठीक है मतलब
No, but his line in
At
length
least
and
he
his
won't get smashed around like Rabada did for
no,
sure.
he won't get
But he could
smashed
actually.
around. He won't get smashed around by Rabada, but he also has like that line in length, and he has like that way to he's a very like constricting fast bowler, right? He's like intimidation, like your classical what you call it, middle overs fast bowler.
Hit the deck type, yeah.
Yeah, hit the deck. Yeah. It'd be good,
And you've
especially
got Corbin Bosch, who's a very handy cricketer, man. Use him. Why are you
yeah,
leaving him on the bench
Yeah,
for
I'm surprised
George
they
Linde?
haven't.
मतलब ये क्या
exactly.
science है भाई?
We talked about him in the preview. I'm surprised they haven't used him more. Yeah, I suspect in the Super 8
He's
South
also
Africa
Silly,
start using him
silly.
he's
more.
so useful with the bat as well, man.
Yes.
Asa
He's
Asa
hammers the ball.
oh,
I think he was
No,
batting at six for Zalmi or something, something hilarious. So he didn't show up. Something happened.
he's definitely a very good Swiss Army knife to have.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, gentlemen, about the tournament at large?
I mean, this was the first proper upset today, but like
Mm.
as we've seen for the entire storyline of the tournament has been, oh, there's not a gap now. There's not a in at least T20 cricket. There's about 15 teams in the world that can beat you on any given day.
Who's playing in the morning?
It's
Ireland, Oman,
Ireland, Oman.
Ireland, Oman.
And well, Paul Sterling got injured. That's
Yeah.
been the story of this World Cup, actually. Paul Sterling is ruled
Pretty
out.
much.
Brendan Taylor is ruled out. Abhishek Sharma hasn't played.
Hasaranga.
Hasaranga ruled out.
But you know,
There's a
Mustafa,
bug going around.
to your point about teams sort of becoming
Haris Rauf ruled out because of non-injury reasons.
about the gap closing, and I think you see that because of just a plethora of T20 leagues now.
Yeah.
All these players know each other. They know each other's weaknesses. They know each other's strengths. You know, there's so much data, so much analytics. They're all coached by T20 franchises. You know, here, there, everywhere. So they know what to do. And when it's only 120 balls, you can just use you know exactly what to do, what the matchups are, so on and so forth. So you narrow that margin even more.
And like how we've talked about it, like T20, like I've said this multiple times during the course of the tournament. In T20s, you don't always have to be the best team on paper to win. Like you have to do in tests. Like you have to outright be the best team to win a test match. Even if you are just a little bit better than them, it's probably a draw, right? In T20s, you could be like substantially worse, but like you could just have one or two things go right for you, and like you somehow win the match, right? And that's the great
You
like
know,
T20s.
two overs in each inning could change the match.
Exactly. It's the great I think this is the great leveler in cricket, and that's why another reason why when eventually cricket is in the world, it's going to be in the Olympics from 2028, if I'm not wrong, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and I think it's in the T20 format.
Yes.
It might
Yeah.
even be T10 actually.
Yeah, so
Or
even
is
if
it 20?
I
I
think
mean, heck,
I think
even
Doc is on the Olympic committee. He'll tell us.
even a T2 is probably two overs too much. But nevertheless, thank you guys. We'll do this again over the weekend, and of course, big match coming on Sunday.
yeah.